Greetings and welcome to Danish Info News TV, your Danish English news updates. Let's take a look at today's top headlines. There are stricter rules for criminals who are facing deportation. Child sexual abuse was reported. Compensation claims have been linked to Uyghur and Uzbek eye injuries. Police warn of escort service extortion. A suspected money laundering mastermind was arrested at the airport. Biker gangs hit with $250 million in unpaid taxes. Social care facilities flagged for potential money laundering. Please stay tuned for comprehensive details on these developing stories. We begin with the first of our main story from Thursday, November 20. New proposal. Parliament tightens rules at Kærs Hulgaard Departure Center. Criminal foreigners sentenced to deportation and rejected asylum seekers must report to the authorities daily, starting at the turn of the year. The Danish Parliament made this decision on Thursday, according to a press release from the Ministry of Immigration and Integration. The new rules apply to residents of departure centers. Until now, only foreigners with tolerated stays were required to report daily. They risk a fine or jail time if they disregard this reporting obligation. Asylum numbers for 2025 may be among the lowest in history. According to the Ministry of Immigration and Integration in a newsletter, around 790 people have been granted residence permits in Denmark on asylum grounds up to and including October. It has only happened 3 times since 1983 when the record keeping began. The number has been below 1,000. In the second of our main story is from Thursday, November 20th. A 54-year-old man was expelled from Denmark after being convicted of sexually abusing a child. A 54-year-old Iraqi man living in Denmark has been sentenced to 6 years in prison and expelled from the country for sexually abusing a young girl abroad in 2017 or 2018. The case surfaced after police discovered that he had filmed the assaults, though the victim has not been identified. The court concluded that the girl who appears in 20 videos was under 12 years old, and the man was convicted of rape, among other offenses. He has appealed the verdict and will remain in custody until the case reaches the High Court. The investigation began after NCMEC alerted Danish authorities to his possession of child sexual abuse material. In another main story, Friday, November 21st, Uyghur and Uzbek provide compensation to 4 patients who suffered eye damage. Novo Nordisk medications, Uyghur and Uzbek have caused vision damage, leading to compensation for 4 patients. The Danish Patient Compensation Association made this announcement in a press release. The total compensation awarded to the 4 patients currently amounts to around 800,000 Danish krone. A total of 43 patients have applied for compensation, claiming they have developed the serious eye disease NAION as a side effect of Uzbek or Uyghur. Decisions have now been made in the first 5 cases. In another case from Friday, November 21st, man jailed for money laundering attempted to flee the country. A 51-year-old man believed to be the ringleader of a major money laundering network was arrested at Copenhagen Airport while attempting to leave Denmark. He is suspected of laundering around 70 million krona through a network already under investigation as part of National Al Capone Cooperation, an initiative created under Denmark's 2024 Gang Package 4 to combat organized financial crime involving multiple authorities. NSK, the National Unit for Special Crime, has previously arrested several members of the network and leads the initiative. According to NSK, the latest arrest targets the presumed mastermind behind the operation. The man is scheduled for a preliminary court hearing in Glostrup, where the prosecution will request closed-door proceedings. The following day, a judge ordered him held in partial detention due to high risk of flight. To a different main story from Sunday, November 23rd. Bikers face $250 million in unpaid taxes. The Danish tax agency is intensifying efforts against financial crime in biker and gang environments, which authorities say have become more organized and sophisticated. In 2024, the agency found errors of fraud in over 80% of roughly 1,000 inspections carried out, resulting in tax claims of about 247 million krona. Since 2020, a total of approximately 1 billion krona has been collected from these groups. Money laundering, tax and duty fraud, the use of straw men, and complex corporate structures are among the crimes. The tax agency works closely with the police and other authorities, including through the strengthened Al Capone Cooperation under Gang Package 4, where information is shared and cases are investigated jointly. The tax minister, Anna Helsbo Jørgensen, emphasized the necessity of strict regulation and uniform punishment in gang and biker environments. The Secretariat investigated 301 commercial approved social housing services and received alerts for 46 of them. To a different main story from Monday, November 24. Money laundering alerts for social housing services are similar to those for pizzerias. The Anti-Money Laundering Secretariat has received reports of potential money laundering for 15% of commercial approved social housing services for children and adults. The latest quarterly report from the Secretariat on Monday confirms this. This places social housing services on par with industries such as demolition and pizzerias in terms of alerts about potential money laundering. The Secretariat investigated 301 commercial approved social housing services and received alerts for 46 of them. In another main story from Monday, November 24, municipalities criticized for integration efforts. Often, municipalities are failing to meet legally mandated deadlines for offering refugees and family reunification applicants programs that can help them enter the workforce. Because they haven't been given opportunities like work placements or subsidized employment, thousands of people who have arrived in Denmark have been waiting too long to enter the workforce. This has drawn criticism from the Danish Auditor General, Statsrevisorerne. In a different main story from Tuesday, November 25th, the number of child sexual assault reports is at its highest level in a decade. The number of children in Denmark who are victims of reported sexual offenses is at its highest level in 10 years. Last year, 1,841 children were victims of reported sexual crimes. A new report from Børns Vilkår, Children's Welfare, demonstrates this. In connection with the report, the organization also commissioned an opinion survey showing that 4 out of 10 Danes would not report to the municipality if they suspected that a child was being subjected to violence. Now to the last of our main story. From Tuesday, November 25th, cyber threat to Denmark is serious, says Minister. The cyber threat to Denmark is serious, says Minister for Civil Protection and Emergency Management, Torsten Schack Pedersen, at a press conference. According to him, Danes are exposed to cyber attacks every single day. Denmark's National Bank warns that critical financial infrastructure remains vulnerable to cyber attacks, which could disrupt operations and threaten financial stability. The financial sector, while generally robust, requires improvements in cybersecurity. The bank urges institutions to enhance monitoring of data traffic, strengthen defenses against attacks, prepare for quantum secure encryption, and develop clear exit strategies to handle critical incidents. Now to some other news. We begin on Thursday, November 20th. A 36-year-old woman remanded for multiple burglaries in Vesterbro. A 17-year-old was charged with neglect homicide after a Valby traffic accident killed a 65-year-old. A fight outside Aarhus court led to arrests, with one person found guilty of murder and 3 others for assault. The court upheld the 5-year prison sentence and exclusion of a Somali man for rape. A suspended sentence for embezzlement was imposed on a senior sergeant. Deaths: 57-year-old man from carbon monoxide, 88-year-old female cyclist in Hellerslev. Cyber warnings: fake Interpol emails in Greenland, fake loan companies on Facebook. Aalborg Airport briefly closed due to suspected drones. Farmers report lower milk yield after new feed additive. Friday, November 21. 2 men received life sentences for their involvement in a street killing in Copenhagen back in 2022. A Czech man sentenced and deported for filming women in a toilet. A man jailed for robberies in Køge. Investigations are underway into a stabbing incident in Tingbjerg, and a shaman faces charges for putting a woman in danger during a ceremony. The Supreme Court will hear a case involving AI-generated child abuse. Police search for an Aalborg robber. An elderly woman in Køge was defrauded of cash and jewelry. A man was caught driving without a license 3 times in Aarhus. 17-year-olds are increasingly obtaining licenses. In health authorities urge flu vaccination. A study links 3+ drinks daily to higher brain hemorrhage risk. Record: over 23,200 families applied for Christmas aid from Blå Kors. Saturday, November 22. Pernille Rosenkrantz-Theil quits politics. The Social Democrat politician resigns entirely after failing to become Lord Mayor of Copenhagen. Police foiled a kidnapping at Copenhagen Airport, locating a young girl likely abducted from Sweden and arresting 2 suspects. A 14-year-old was stabbed with a machete during an incident at Uden station, where a 16-year-old attempted to take the knife from the victim, who sustained an injury to the thigh. 73-year-old attacked with a hammer. In Nabro, Copenhagen, a 32-year-old man struck a senior in the head, Suspect remanded 23 days. The minister welcomes reports of child abuse, praising the increase in Danes who report suspected cases and highlighting the gaps in public awareness. A bird flu outbreak north of Vibo has led to culling of 9,000 turkeys, with over 220,000 poultry affected this season. Transport company fined 400,000 Danish kroner. Trans AS penalized for foreign drivers violating rest time rules. Immigrants surpass Danes in employment. Men with non-Western immigrant backgrounds have higher employment rates than Danish men in 11 municipalities and women in 3. Sunday, November 23rd. Police fined for illegal strip search, East Jutland. Police ordered a woman to strip during a search. The court ruled it illegal, awarding her compensation. Shooting in Sulested. 1 person was shot on Lolland and is in stable condition. 4 suspects have been remanded. Remand hearings resumed. 4 suspects from the Sulested shooting are held in custody until December 19. Sabotage at a Christmas stall. Tanya Gulnus roadside Christmas stall in Ranas was repeatedly vandalized, now is under video surveillance. Bordello robbery. 3 masked men robbed a bordello in Boarding, threatening 2 women and stealing cash. TV2 reported to police. Danish pig producers reported TV2 over alleged illegal filming for a documentary on pig farms. TV2 denies wrongdoing. Greenland minister drops lawsuit. Former Greenland minister Tom Hoyen will not sue Greenland's finance minister Mute B. Eel for alleged defamatory. Remarks about Denmark committing genocide. Aalborg mayor ousted. Social Democrat Lasse Freeman loses majority after 100 years of party rule. Yes, Lord, radical left backed as new mayor. Slagelse mayoral delay. Slagelse has yet to confirm a new mayor. The previous announcement was withdrawn by Social Democrat candidate Rita Hundley. Monday, November 24. A 21-year-old man was jailed for attempting to rape a 13-year-old girl. The girl's father intervened to stop the offense and was also convicted of other sexual acts and grooming. Young men arrested for laughing gas driving. 4 arrests total since the zero tolerance rule was introduced on November 10th. 49-year-old man jailed in Greenland, convicted of a rape of a 14-year-old, grooming, paid sex with a child, and possession of a child pornography. The Østjylland police have published images of suspects posing as fake bank messengers who are targeting scammers that prey on the elderly. Traffic control in Aarhus yields 57 charges, mainly against taxi drivers violating traffic and licensing rules. 23-year-old sentenced for attempted murder. The 23-year-old was found guilty of stabbing a random man in Copenhagen, but fortunately the victim survived. 42-year-old Polish man was charged for hitting a train conductor at Horsens station, faces assault charges. 39-year-old man sentenced for killing 67-year-old woman to be placed in a secure psychiatric unit. A driver has been charged with dangerous driving in the Øresund tunnel. The car was seized after it reversed nearly 2 kilometers. An official from Frederikshavn has resigned due to a 30 million Danish kroner budget gap. Budget issues may reopen city council negotiations. The tax ministry plans 610 to 640 layoffs as part of a savings plan for 2026 through 2030 across multiple agencies. New campaign urges Danes to prepare for crisis, emphasis on home. Preparedness. A survey shows many know recommendations but don't follow them. S-train rides are free on Sundays, beginning on November 30th. Free travel is available with an app coupon and a DSB Plus profile. Clarification on climate-friendly cow feed. Farmers can now expect sick cows from Bover feed after reports of reduced milk production. Police warn parents about illegal fireworks. Teens in Hillsong fired multiple firecrackers. Authorities advise parental guidance. Tuesday, November 25th. Prison death cleared. In a case involving prison poisoning, Denmark did not violate human rights. A 60-year-old man in Faxe was stopped while possessing amphetamine, stolen license plates, and firecrackers. Fraud convictions. 3 Odense men sentenced for multi-million-dollar fraud targeting businesses. Winter driving. 21-year-old charged for driving with summer tires on icy roads. Shopkeeper illegally photographed a 16-year-old buying alcohol, upsetting the father. Rabbits rescued. 36 rabbits crammed on an arbour balcony, several euthanized, the rest is set for adoption. Cat killed. 25-year-old arrested for abusing a cat in Aarhus. In traffic, illegal left turns. 6 drivers fined in Esbjerg for dangerous turns. Still on traffic, knife threat. A woman was arrested in Kolding after threatening traffic with a knife. Burglar sentenced. 31-year-old gets 2 years and 3 months for 29 break-ins. Black Friday warning. The Consumer Council warns of fake shops and misleading deals. Cannabis side effects. 3 reports of medical cannabis side effects in 2024. Ongoing fire. The North Jutland wood chip fire continues after 10 days. Beef locked up. 365 discount stores lock up ground beef due to thefts. Disabled employment. 15,000 more young disabled people will join the workforce by 2030. Meat consumption steady. 3/4 of Danish dinners still contain meat. Now to some news from Wednesday, November 26. 77-year-old man sentenced to 3 years in prison for sexually abusing a 13 to 14-year-old girl in 2007 through 2009. 5 people charged with smuggling 10 kilos of cocaine via FedEx. Prosecutors seek their deportation. A shoplifter pushed a store detective while fleeing a supermarket in Odense. Both suspects were charged with theft. An 18-year-old was stabbed in Aarhus. The victim refuses to talk and the attacker is still at large. Police seek a robbery suspect after a knife threat robbery in Daglibrosen, Virkelund. A TV2 documentary reveals animal welfare violations among some of Denmark's most influential farmers. The Food Administration drastically reduces reports against livestock transporters from 1,763 in 2022 to 147 in 2023. Greenland, Denmark, and the US will meet in Nuuk in early December to resume trilateral committee talks. Today is the final deadline to remove election posters. Any left after midnight will cost candidates over 500 Danish krona per poster. The Road Directorate warns, noting that only candidates or their team may take them down. Now to Danish business, November 20th through 25th. Novo Nordisk drops. Stock fall by approximately 8% to 279, initially down 12%. Novo Nordisk weight loss study, phase 2 trial of amycretin shows up to 14.5% weight loss for type 2 diabetes patients. The bank merger has been approved as Nordfyns Bank and Middelfart Sparkasse were cleared by the competition authority. However, it still requires approval from Finanstilsynet. Employment rises. September sees 5,100 more employed for a total of just over 3,400,000. SMB cyber guidance. Small businesses are advised to disconnect from the internet during attacks and report to authorities. Green mobility plans. AI Cars intends to buy up to 2,000 self-driving cars from Tensor. Danish crown's profit has decreased to 788 million krona, while its debt have increased and prices for farmers have risen. Law firm merger. Horton merges with Dahl to form Horton Dahl. Danish economy grows. Third quarter of GDP is up by 2.3%, 3.9% YTD. Exports are up by 4.1%. Mobile pay update. Contactless payment via app starts Thursday for 700,000 users. Consumer confidence drops. November index minus 20.1, the lowest since March of 2023. Lego CEO honored. Niels B. Christensen named 2025 Leader of the Year. Ørsted layoffs. 191 employees dismissed. Heartland Post record revenue, sales up with 12% to 64.4 billion krona. Pre-tax profit up with 60% to 6.4 billion krona. That's all for now. Don't miss out. Sign up for Danish Info News TV right now. And thanks for watching.